My name is Scarlet Rose. I've been doing modeling since about 2018, but realistically, I've been doing it my whole life. um, I was always kind of a very vain child growing up. I loved playing dress up. I loved looking at myself in the mirror. I remember my mom always tells me this story of one time when I was like 4 or 5 years old and I decided to wear overalls with boots. And she told me, you can't do that, that's not something that you wear. But I was always, creating costumes and doing that kind of stuff. I come from a really creative family. Every single person in my family is a musician. And my mom and all of my siblings are like artists. So they paint like watercolors with what's it called? Graphite. They're just amazing. So I guess I got my talent more in the graphic photography side. So I am a model and photographer. I first picked up a camera when I was about 12 years old. I had one of those little tiny like Casios that was like 16 megapixels. And then finally I was able to afford to buy my first camera when I was about 18 years old. I had a Canon T5i, which I still shoot with. And after that, one time one of my colleagues at work asked me if I wanted to do a photo shoot. And I was like, I'm really shy. I don't think I could do this. But really, like, I was excited. So I ended up agreeing and we did the photo shoot. I met another photographer there. And at the time, I had a boyfriend that was long distance and I wanted to surprise him with like a boudoir photo album. So I asked this guy if we could meet up and I went from there. And yeah, that's basically how I started off. So I remember hearing Johnny Depp talk about his daughter one time, and her name is Lily Rose. And I was like, wow, that's such a beautiful name. But I wasn't entirely in love with the Lily part. And then one time my sister was talking about if she ever had kids, she'd name her daughter Scarlet. And I was like, damn, that's like such a really nice gothic name. So I kind of just incorporated the two, and that's how I came up with my handle. As an aspiring model myself, I think the biggest thing there is to do is just get out there, meet people, connect, network, even try to like do photo shoots yourself. Like nowadays, there's the self timers on your iPhone. You can just, do yourself self portraits, do your own photo shoots, go online, go on Instagram, look what's, TikTok, Instagram, even Pinterest, look up ideas for poses, for creative outfits. There's so much really nice things out there that can help you to become more creative and become more in tune with yourself and with your work. So the hardest thing for me was honestly getting out of my head. I was really nervous and I was very self-conscious about the different areas that I'm not exactly extremely happy about with my body. If there was like a little jelly roll or if my arms looked fat, I was really self-conscious about that showing in pictures. So really just getting out of your head, trusting your photographers, and also like knowing your body helped me a lot to kind of get out of my head and maybe one or two shots. I don't think that I was inspired per se. It kind of just fell on my lap. Um, I was always like really vain growing up, and I loved like having attention. And as, as I grew older and I had more opportunities, um, modeling became like a creative outlet for me. And it was really fulfilling to be able to have an idea in my head and work with photographers and make these ideas come to life and just give something beautiful back to the world. And that's basically it, I guess. I think with boudoir, the difference is that you gain confidence, and you also have to have confidence when you go into it, even if it's just a little bit. You have to have a lot of trust in your photographers when they pose you. And sometimes, like some positions or some different, what's it called? Equipment or props are used. I know that, with certain body types, you have to use different techniques. So it's not really just, it's not so much that you just stand there and pose, but I feel with boudoir, a lot of the times your body is contoured into all these really hard positions that you have to hold. So a lot of times, like poses, they look very sexy, they look easy, like, oh yeah, like I can just arch my back. And then when you see, like, during the processes, like sometimes the photographers will be like, hey, like you need to arch your back more, you need to like extend your neck more, and they'll show you like the process, like the pictures that they take, and you see like where you need to fix your pose. And it gets really hard to hold poses, hold your composure, make have a good face all at the same time. So I think that's probably what makes it different. So this was one of the first pictures I was proud of. This is one of the first pictures I took with my T5i, and I was just going around the house trying to get to know my camera better, taking pictures of literally the randomest things. And I was really happy to see that I could create such beautiful art with different colors, and like everything kind of just popped. This picture actually is unedited. I didn't even know how to work Photoshop at the time. So I was really proud of that picture. And that's when I knew too that maybe I had like a potential future in pursuing, the love of photography. So this is actually my second shoot ever, and it wasn't supposed to be a boudoir type of photo shoot, but that's kind of how it ended up going. And I was just so in love with the details. And even though it's a black and white picture, there's so much um, like eye capturing essence to it. The way that the photographer edited the picture really like highlights my leg, it highlights my chest, my arm, and it was just really beautiful to be able to see that I could be captured in such a beautiful way. And I was inspired to not only continue to do more shoots like this, but eventually at some point also produce this kind of art. So getting a little bit more vulnerable, on this picture, we were at the For the Meets vibe, right? For and it was my first time doing a meetup And I was really nervous because this was one of the first times I had started shooting again since finishing school, and I was like 20 pounds heavier. And so inside of my head, I was just really self conscious. I know that I'm a beautiful um, woman, but that day I just wasn't feeling it. So, taking these pictures with Omar and being surrounded by so many other photographers, this picture stood out to me because when he sent me the pictures, I was like, wow, like even though I'm a little heavier, I'm just so beautiful. And it reminded me back to how much I've grown. I grew up with a lot of self-esteem issues. I actually had like one of my like pre-K teachers, she would call me feo tia, which is like in Spanish, it basically means like ugly one. So that stuck out with me a lot. And then when I was around like 11 and I started developing, my mom admitted to me, she was like, yeah, you were a really ugly child. And she's like, but you grew up to be the beautiful swan. So you're my little ugly duckling turned into a swan. And she even gave me this little watch that was a charm, and I wore it on my charm bracelet, and it was a little swan that had a clock on it. Um, so it was really nice to be reminded that, you know, it doesn't matter your size, it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter if you're big, if you're small, it doesn't matter anything. Like you're beautiful no matter what. And this meetup actually reminded me of that. So it was really nice. So a lot of people actually ask me, "How do you do it? It's so scary to get in front of a camera." And I think what I would say is you just do it. You know, even though you're scared, you're nervous, you're self-conscious, just go in there and start just doing it. You can, I think one of my biggest things that helped me progress as a model was to know my angles. So like literally just practice in front of a mirror. If you can, take a mirror to a photo shoot. Just have like a full length mirror, look at yourself while your photographer is shooting, and that way you know best like what you actually look like. So that helps a lot. Know your lighting as well. Like practice like even taking selfies. Know the lighting, what which angles work. So just some like quick tips, especially for like boudoir, if you're gonna be taking a like a front face picture and your photographer is shooting you, just lean forward. It's gonna make your waist look more cinched, and it's gonna look make your like boobs look bigger. So that's a really good tip. Also, you know, just like inhale when they're shooting you. Try to like hold in your breath. It'll make you look skinnier. It'll make your neckline look better. There's a lot of things that you could learn on YouTube or even on TikTok for things that might help you stand out and to get your body looking more like the way you want it to look. Aside from that, you know, just go out there and do it. So I am on Instagram as Scarlet.Rose Boudoir, but the end part is spelled like Dior. And I'm also on Instagram as number four, ever engraved. That's more of like my personal page. I'm looking to, you know, get more creative. I'm just recently out of school, so I'm trying to get back out there. I'm trying to get more like modeling gigs where I'm actually getting paid. So if you want to meet up and work together, just shoot me a DM. I will be at the Mad Max photo shoot next weekend, so hope to see you there.